This is Charles Jordan with a Colbert Chronicle Video News Extra. A torrential rainfall and rising temperatures created a large amount of water rushing down brooks and streams into the Connecticut River on Tuesday night. By Wednesday morning, road crews and emergency personnel were at several sites throughout northern New Hampshire and Vermont, blocking roads to through traffic. Throughout the day, the Colbert Chronicle followed the path of flooding down the Connecticut River. In the early morning, traffic was already being affected in the riverside area of West Stewartstown. By mid-morning, Route 3 was cut off to traffic. It's 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and the water had been rising for several hours after some torrential rain and rapid snow melt. We spoke with Clarksville resident Ivan Tebow at the scene.
You know, last night it just came down, thunder and lightning seemed like it was never going to stop. And it rained so hard, and I knew there was a lot of snow left up in the Pittsburgh area, so I figured this morning everything would be closed. So my wife left for work, came right back, called her boss and said everything's closed down, the Hall Stream's closed down, Route 3's closed down, and so you can't circle around that way because you can't get through there. So basically all you got to go up 145 to Colbert. And then if you want to come back to Canaan or Stewartstown, then you have to come back all the way and then circle all the way around and get back home.
Further up Route 3, water was washing over the snowmobile trail between Indian Stream and Tabor Road. Water surrounded Roy Amy's log yard at Pittsburgh Mulch and more. All along Route 3, mountain runoffs were contributing to the water flooding over the highway. Traffic was being rerouted through most of the day. And back of me is a situation here just north of Colbert in West Stewartstown where Route 3 has continued to be cut off. People are saying that the water has receded about 4 feet from where it was a few hours ago. Among the hardest hit was Talmadge Plumbing and Heating and the Jason Motel in West Stewartstown. We spoke with Randy Talmadge about the extent of the damage.
What you see coming out of the first hose over here is what's coming out of the basement, and it's keeping up with it pretty good. It's still got about 2 inches of water down there. The showroom, on the other hand, has got about 4 inches of water in it, and obviously we're not keeping up with that because it's coming in at such a fast rate. Yeah, when I got here this morning, the sidewalks, you can see the sidewalks to the motel. The boiler system was only about, it wasn't even completely over the top of it yet. It wasn't completely submerging the basement. And then it just slowly but surely arose. And the first point that I had really noticed that it was even rising was when it started coming up over the concrete slab at the motel. And when it started doing that, and you could actually see it rising, I knew then we were in for trouble.
The Beecher Falls Fire Department had to contend with a flooded station. We spoke with Fire Chief Steve Young.
I got a call about 2:30 and said that probably should check stuff out at the fire station, that Hall Stream was going over River Road. So I responded, and I couldn't pass by Hall Stream, so I had to go around Route 3. And by the time I got here, there was just a small amount of water in front of the station, nothing out of the norm that we usually have when it's something like this. Contacted the watchman to see if any calls have been made for the factory, and they started making calls, and by the time I got back to the station and it had come up that fast, it was already running between the buildings. So whether something was jammed somewhere and it let go, I'm not sure. But by the time we got people here, it was 15 to 20 minutes, and some of the trailers, by the time we were able to move them, we had to winch 2 of the trailers around to get them sideways, so we were able to hook onto them because of the depth of the water. So it come fast. All of the equipment's fine, ready to go, and we've got assistance from Colbert and Pittsburgh. They're coming right now to help us, do what we can do, and we haven't been able to assess the station, but we had water running over the countertops and stuff in the new kitchen, and there's damage to some of the other equipment, the compressors and stuff like that. So everybody kicking in and helping out, and they've saved an awful lot today.
The rising water continued impacting communities to the south, with the Connecticut River having become a churning torrent. The Canaan School's ball fields were underwater throughout most of the day. Donna LaPierre talked with us about the situation at the school.
Well, my husband called me at 6:30 and said the A field was under. And I came over here about 20 after 7 this morning and was taking pictures, and Mike Patno helped open the door up, and that's when we noticed the cook shack was flooded also. We're supposed to have a doubleheader Saturday, but I'm not sure about now, because the boys also, their field, which is behind my place on D field, that's under too. Well, it was halfway up to the shins of our legs. So it was pretty deep.
By 4 o'clock, the water had crested down here on the Vermont side. We're in Leamington, Vermont right now, about a mile above the Columbia Bridge. The water continues to move south as it has all morning long. By dusk, Route 3 near the Columbia Bridge was underwater and close to traffic, with a few making it through the rushing water. On Wednesday night and into Thursday morning, highway crews were keeping an eye on water levels. Meanwhile, there's a chance for more rain in the immediate forecast. For the latest on this story, watch this Friday's Video News of the Week.